Hello, I feel like I'm going to cough right away. It is me, Pearl, and this is Tuned In Tarot, and we are here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and divine feminine energy inside of self, understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see this reflected back to us in our interactions with others, in our external environment, and if we want to see change, we do need to make the change and shift our mindset and figure out why we're continually cycling through the same patterns over and over again. Today is Wednesday. Wednesday is a day that belongs to Hermes, and it is all about communication, and that is what we are going to do today is we're going to look at the communication in a connection. You can see by the title of the YouTube that this is really about somebody who doesn't know why it's so hard for them to communicate, but they're going to try and they need patience. That was the message that came through. We got this Sea Creatures Immersion card, which I actually pulled for a client, but it was on my desk and it was really significant because I've recently started working with the energy of Sedna, who is an Inuit deity of the ocean. And when I choose a deity to work with, I just basically what I'm looking for is an embodiment of something. So I was looking for a wounded feminine deep in her emotions. That's somebody I wanted to work with. That's the energy of what I wanted to work with, just so I can clarify that I'm not like appropriating this god and being like, you're my god now and I'm going to make money off of you. It's just like, I just look for a story or a fairy tale that embodies the deeply wounded feminine. And to be honest, I didn't look for her. She found me. I shuffled my deck asking for a guardian of the West, which was a guardian of water. And I actually wasn't even thinking about that when I really was just thinking about somebody that I wanted to work with on something that I was processing, and she came out of the deck and I realized that is exactly what I needed to work with, the very wounded feminine energy. Once I decide to work with a deity, usually what happens is I just incorporate them into my practice. I either choose a deck that will represent their energy, since this is kind of a mothering energy I'm getting, which I know is strange from Sedna because she is like a zombie looking witch. She's like scary. But that's the thing, like the mother wounds that have been healed, now we can face this part of the feminine, the dark feminine, in our power. So she brings power. And so I chose a deck for her. So usually I'll choose a deck that like represents that energy. And if I get certain cards within the deck, like the Queen of Cups or something in her case, or the Six of Wands for Nike, Raphael, if the Temperance card comes out, he has a couple cards, but particularly the Temperance card. And Pan for me is like usually the Page of Wands, like playful energy, or just one of the wilder cards. I use the Wild Unknown deck for Pan. So that's kind of how I do deity work, just to contextualize that in case you're interested. But basically, I knew that this was a message for me and my client. It was very, very applicable to my client's situation, but right behind I could see Sedna because I leave her card out on my altar and I can just see her peering out from literally behind my phone while I'm working. So I knew she was gearing me in to do some kind of a reading on this today. And when I went out into the driveway, so I asked her when I called her energy and I said, I would like a totem because I usually do have like little totems I put to represent certain energy that I work with, to remind myself, or if I need to carry something in my pocket. This is my energy for Pan, which is a Zippo that has this lovely healing symbol on it, because Pan represents green man energy for me, the ancient energy of the earth. That's plant medicine for me. So he has my Zippo. I like that. And it's definitely like something I can keep in my pocket. It's weighty. So that's his totem. And I was thinking of this one I wanted for Sedna, and I had this one in mind, and it's actually a cool thing that I had. It was my mom's in the 70s. It was this tiny little necklace, like a, what do you call that? A charm. But it had fallen out of the original setting. My mom saved it because it was a unique piece, and it was this glass disc, clear glass disc, thick glass, kind of like sea glass, kind of like this. And inside of the disc was this tiny globule of mercury, because this shit was made in the 70s. Hey, Luna. And so they didn't care about mercury like that back then. They were like, you could break that all over the floor and get mercury poisoning just for wearing that necklace out to, but they're like, cool, mercury. But so it's this really interesting, beautiful piece. And it has inside of the clear glass that the mercury is in, there is also a liquid, and this is kind of being washed out by the sunlight, but if you can see this, it's like a turquoise color. And so this is what I had in mind, and I thought, oh, I'm going to find that because I don't know exactly where it is, and I've moved around a lot, and I have a few different boxes, and I thought it'll come to me, but I thought that's going to be my totem. And then I walked outside today and I looked on our driveway, and this was in my driveway, and it is so close to what I was envisioning. But you know what? It's not deadly. And I thought that was such an interesting metaphor that I wanted something that was very pretty but had danger. It contained danger within it. And Sedna wanted to appease my desire to have a small round trinket that represented her energy that I could keep in my pocket or put in whatever it is that, to remind myself of the energy of emotions and feeling and creativity and the depths of those emotions and everything. And then I walk outside and she gives me this, which is almost exactly what I desire, but it cannot hurt me. And that made me think about how I have been very attached to a person that in theory works perfectly for this role, but in practice contains a core of something that could hurt me. And Sedna, by giving me an object that was very similar to what I desired, but couldn't hurt me, is showing me how where the true healing lies on the twin flame journey. Because I love this, and I didn't even expect to find this. In fact, when I pictured it, to be honest with you, I didn't at first picture the disc. I only told my friend later that I was thinking of different things, and then the disc occurred to me. What I actually pictured first was something a little more like this, a piece of sea glass. To find this, I live in northern New York. Okay? I live in upstate New York. It's October 4th. There's orange and red leaves on the ground. There's not a beach in sight. I don't know where this piece of sea glass came from outside of my powers of manifesting something that was much easier to find, and I didn't have to go seek it. It literally presented itself to me. For those who have ears, you can hear right now, and for those who have eyes, who can see right now, that message is at the core of your journey, okay? So let's look at what makes it so difficult for the person that you are, or not even just the person, because we know at this point that it's people, probably multiple people that you've been with in your life. What makes it so difficult to express their feelings? Why is it so hard for them to immerse themselves in their feelings? The answer to that question really lies within you, because your reasons for avoiding being immersed in feelings are going to be the key to why you choose certain people to represent this energy for you. We're going to use Sedna's deck here, the Housewives Tarot, in the head space. And for the heart space, we're actually going to use another deck that I would associate with her, the Zombie Tarot, because she is pretty freaky looking. When she appears to me in when I do my meditations and picture my deities, when she first came in, I always picture myself near the water's edge. When I do my circle, and I picture like my deities and guardians there with me, and I turned to look at the ocean, expecting her to like come out kind of like Aphrodite style, just like rising out all beautiful and pretty and shit. And I turned and looked and was like, what is that near the edge of the water? And I was envisioning this black pile of seaweed, like that looked, I thought was seaweed, but then I realized it was moving. And then that shit, it looked like The Ring. That shit was like, like creepy as fuck, like coming up, and she stands up and she's incredibly tall, completely naked. Her skin is like zombie colored ocean. She has like lantern eyes and this black seaweed hair that's like kind of terrifying. And she's beautiful, but like horrifying. And then I was like, hi. So like when you call on deity energy, like be prepared. You may, it's not like my Nike who's like this angel with like gold tipped wings and shit. No, it's like the depths of the darkest feelings that we have in the deepest parts of ourselves, and how we've been suppressed, how the feminine, because the story of Sedna, if you don't know the story, her father, for some reason, she had this terrible relationship with her father, and for some reason he forces her to marry a dog to humiliate her. And then he realizes that this is a terrible thing to do, so he dissolves the marriage by killing the dog. But the dog is this loyal guardian of Sedna. Then this man comes to take Sedna away. She falls in love with him. She thinks he's amazing. And kind of like the piece I love, like the little necklace piece. But when she gets taken away by this man, he's actually a bird man. And he goes and takes her to this place where all of her in-laws are. And she's miserable and starving to death because they are really vultures, and they eat raw flesh, and she can't eat raw rotting flesh. So she's dying, and she's trying to explain to him, I can't survive on this. I need more than this. And nobody is meeting any of her needs. She's being depleted, and she's on the verge of death. And her father, feeling remorse for everything that has happened, gets in this boat. The loyal dog, actually, I think is the spirit of the dog, goes and tells him that he has to go save her. And he ends up taking the boat, rescuing her. But then when they leave, the Birdman, who feels like he possesses her and is so jealous, he comes and makes this storm. And the storm causes her father to be frightened and throw her back into the sea to appease the Birdman. And she holds on to the side of the boat trying to save herself. He fears that she will pull him under, so he cuts her fingers off. And then her fingers become all of the dolphins and the whales and, the feeling creatures of the sea, the most ancient energy. To have Pan on one side of the, in the north, and then to have Sedna in the west makes a lot of sense because it's a very ancient energy. But so she then sinks to the depths of the ocean, and all of the creatures come and soothe her mutilated hands. And, she's an incredible deity. So, and she literally provides all life through the sea, right? So she's the mother, she's the water. It's just incredible. And it's kind of like that metaphor for, you have to cause your mother the most incredible pain to pass from the spirit world into the real reality. Your mother's sacrifice she makes is to know that she's going to almost potentially die to bring you here. And so that's why Sedna is that energy. Thanks so much for all the likes over here. You guys are smashing the like button. I guess you like the Sedna story. I haven't even started the cards yet. It's been 13 minutes. So I guess we're committed to a longer reading today. But maybe some of you needed to hear that story and understand that story. It is a beautiful, beautiful story. But now let's take a look at the cards that we shuffled. I'm actually not going to look, I'm feeling called not to look at the top and bottom of the deck yet. Usually I look at those first, but we're going to save that for last. We're going to look at the energy of communication in the past. And the topic we're looking at is, why is it so hard for me? I don't know why it is so hard for me, but I need your patience with it. The current energy in regards to this in terms of communication, and the energy that will be likely based on a logical conclusion on our current energy, which means that when I'm giving you divination, I am not predicting your future. I am telling you, this is what your future will look like if your energy stays like this, only because anybody who's logical can understand that if their energy is currently like this, their choices will align with this energy. And if they shift their energy and change their mindset, their choices will align with a new energy, which will then create a different outcome. That's how I read. And honestly, I think that's the safest way to read cards, because then you're not really incepting people and telling them this is what your future is. You're saying this is what you think and feel your future might be. And it's more important what you think and feel it is than like what I tell you it is, because you're going to create whatever you think and feel because of the quantum field. Okay. I'm getting likes on over here on YouTube. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let's get into it. So I don't know why it's so hard for me to communicate. The first placement we're looking at is The Four of Wands for the masculine energy. Oh, it's so clear to me. I love cards. I love tarot. When I see that image, I know exactly why it's so hard. And then we have here the Queen of Hazards here, and she is looking scary. And this is the feminine energy. So this is the mind. This is what the mind thinks about this. This is what the heart feels about it. This could be like the way that the masculine energy would be likely to look at the situation if the masculine energy isn't good at tuning into the feminine energy. Or you might be looking at the situation like this because you're not great at tuning into your feelings. And that's why my readings are not about gender. They are truly, truly about energy. Okay, so in this card, the Four of Wands, the reasons why the divine masculine has had a hard time communicating with you is because he has truly wanted to elevate you above the mess. And I'm going to try to get you a good, I'm so sorry, my camera here is not great. All right, so you can see there's a house being built. There's another couple down there. I think there's even indication of maybe it having been a family. And there is the divine feminine, and she is suspended above it. She's got a cocktail. That bitch is styling. She is doing so good. She feels incredible. So that's what the divine masculine wants. Divine masculine doesn't want you. He doesn't want to come to you and be like, hey, I like you. You want to hear about all my problems? You want to try to fix them for me? You want to tell me what I should do? I know you're going to try to do that because I know what type of broad you are, and I know how smart you are, and I know how caring you are, and I know how compassionate you are. And this is not your problem, and I don't want to make it your problem. When I make my commitment to you, which I am definitely interested in because this Four of Wands is showing you very happy. So I'm thinking that means that this is, I want to be with you forever. I want to have built this foundation. I want it cleaned up, and I don't want anything to get in the way of you having the most beautiful, transcendent experience in your life because I have seen you struggle and I want to help raise you above that. Well, that's so nice. Okay. How does he feel about it? Here's the Queen of Hazards. She is not looking good, so I am not feeling that she is the same person as this that he thinks about. Okay? And this is somebody who is looking like they have been eaten alive and they do not feel good. And so we're looking at this person's emotions. So he has put head over heart. And by doing this, he thinks that his person will feel better, but she actually doesn't. That's the irony of this. Because the way that the feminine energy feels is drained by this energy. And honestly, just feeling like, I guess I'm going it alone then, you know? Love from Nigeria, right back at you. So this very significant. Now, this is what's been carried in from the past into the future. So let's look at what has happened because of this reason. So this person thinking, I don't want to involve you in any of this cleanup. And I feel like that's the best choice, or I think that's the best choice. But my heart actually is knowing that by doing this, I am denying my feelings. And because of that, I can't seem to be like get my independence or something. I can't seem to make this work. I can't be creative, or I can't nurture myself. Maybe I don't know how to nurture myself or something. All right, we'll come back to that. So then let's go to the next position, which is, so because this masculine energy thinks I need to keep you suspended above everything, we have now, he feels like a little child in this Page of Swords energy who has completely failed to communicate and is really looking rather cowardly, and instead is just watching you without saying anything. And it's with the best intentions, which is why we see him looking so gleeful, because he's not doing this from a place of being an asshole. Like, he might be acting like an asshole, but his core isn't like asshole. His core is just safety, right? We see running with scissors, like wanting to protect ourselves from hurting anybody or getting hurt, which is actually a good core but he just doesn't understand. Like, he's just emotionally, he doesn't think much about his feelings, and so when he does think about them, it's in a childish way. Um, so that's what we're getting right now. No shit, right? Like, who's resonating with that? Um, I want to see if I can cover my stupid curtain is like fucked up. All right, it'll go behind me in a minute. I'm sorry. This is like you can't even see me because I'm like completely, I'm just all bright. Like, I think my TikTok followers are okay. You can kind of see me. Okay, so this is what he thinks, right? He thinks I look like a child just sitting here peering through the blinds. I kind of look creepy even. I look like a peeping Tom at this point. And then how do I feel about it? Well, we have here the Knight of Hazards. So it's causing me to move extremely slowly. Look, he's crashed into a pole. He's no longer able to operate this vehicle. And that's the biggest message. Why? There we go. That's the biggest message that I'm seeing from this card. I can no longer drive this vehicle. I cannot go at this snail's pace. I cannot keep doing this. I look like a little child. At this point, I'm being schooled by my person, and it's fucking embarrassing because truly this person is not telling me anything I don't know, and I just look like an idiot. So definitely I'm getting a heavy feeling of that. Divine Feminine is feeling that your person. So right now, this whole time, Divine Feminine is thinking, I am going to be completely killed if I don't become independent of this energy. I have to raise myself above this person's mess. I need to make a commitment to myself because if I don't do something about that, I'm never going to get out of this hanged man's energy, which we're going to see coming up soon in a minute. Then the next conclusion is, but I need to get moving. I can't go this slow. This is killing me. The way that this divine masculine, how slow he's going, literally killing me. I can't. Like, I thought to myself, I thought my cycle was ended and it's not. And we came up on this other, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe we're going to go through another cycle. And I was like, I can't, I got to get out of the car. I can't do another cycle. I really, really can't. I know that I can't. But you know what, as I'm being reminded of as I'm saying this right now? After I had my child, I had dinner once with one of my best friend's sisters who had a couple of children of her own. And we were talking about labor and delivery. And she was telling me that women always ask for an epidural when it gets to the point where they're like, I can't, I can't, I can't. And the thing is that point is, if you get past that, if you can get past that point where you're like, I can't do it again, you would actually be able to get through the labor without it. There's this point where your pain, you have hit this peak pain level and it's so high and you think that you can't go on, but it's not going to get worse than that because you're not going to get more than you can handle. And so me hearing that is frustrating because there's also new offers coming in that are much more attractive and kind and supportive. And so I'm like, I don't want to be denying myself love, but this is making very much sense to me, which is like, I don't want to go through that cycle again. I think it's going to kill me. But if I change how I act during this next cycle, that will make all the difference in the world and maybe it will come around. Like, that's what I'm thinking to myself now. But I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, which is I'm going to go on dates if I get asked on dates. I'm going to be open to meeting people because I want love and connection in my life. I don't not want it. So I have to be open. So I'm just going to keep doing that. And I can't go wrong if I'm just loving and being loved. There's really no way to do that wrong. I can't stand how I cannot see right now. I'm going to sit like this. I'll sit this far back. Okay. So the ace of, so where is this headed? If we do nothing right now, if we do not change how we are currently acting, this will be the result. We will have this hanged man energy in the headspace, and we will have in the heart space this ace of cups energy. And we see the feminine on a platter here, her head on a platter, which is a very interesting thing. And it's actually also in the heart space. And we said that in the first case, we were putting the heart over, we were putting the head over the heart by trying to take this feeling and elevate it over this mess. And this is almost like the opposite for me. Now you're putting the heart in the hand. Like it, or I mean, like her head is represented by the feminine. It is the heart. So it's like both things together is what I'm trying to say. Um, and in the first card, the Hanged Man, normally if I saw the Hanged Man, I would be pissed because I don't want to see, oh, if you go through another painful cycle, you'll be super happy to note that you'll still be in Hanged Man energy. What I'm seeing though is this masculine energy hung out to dry, having to get a feel for the feminine's perspective and recognizing that he has to bring that love the feminine was offering to himself. And this is the key to taking the step to offer the love that you have to the feminine energy. So what will happen is if you do nothing right now, which maybe it maybe feels like a great relief to you, is that this person will see things from your perspective, love themselves as they are supposed to, and offer you love that matches your own. And it will make you feel pleasure. You'll feel calm and you will feel relaxed. So don't change anything if you don't, if this sounds good to you. If you do not want to receive an offer from this person, um, you might want to shift your energy a little bit. You might want to change your boundaries. I mean, you have to figure out what you want to do. But if this is where you want to go, then I would say all you really have to do is hang in there, hanged man style. Keep going slow and steady towards your goals. Make sure you're stepping up and communicating bravely in your life. Nurture yourself, be creative, offer yourself opportunities to be creative, and just love yourself. Really just love yourself as hard as you can. Like I think if you can get into that energy, this person is going to see things from your perspective. Remember, this person is learning, they're growing, okay? How do you learn things? You make mistakes and you reflect upon the mistake and you shift and pivot and then you get it right the next time. And, there's the kind of mistakes that are really hard to come back from. Physical abuse, I think, narcissistic personality disorder is not something that's going to be something that we're going to come back from. So there are certain people that have had traumatic wounding to the point where they are not really viable. But I think for the most part that most of us are able to heal and change. I do believe that. And so I do think that you can recover from most things. I do think that physical abuse is very difficult and requires outside assistance. Let's take a look now. So I don't usually save top and bottom, but I did. So right now the top is going to be hope and the bottom is going to be something you don't see coming. Okay. So the hope for the masculine is the Hierophant energy. This is a bigger energy than yourself, a higher power. This is believing and having faith and committing to just believing in something. What is the difference between how my health is improving right now and how it was improving a couple years ago? A couple years ago, I thought I'm going to get better at taking care of myself. I'm going to learn how to do that. And this is more than a couple years ago. This is like a decade ago, but I learned everything I could about nutrition and all the supplements I should take. And I learned everything I shouldn't eat. And I started to do that. And I did it. And I created health. And then anytime I couldn't maintain the high level of commitment it takes to do everything perfectly, which no human can do, instead of falling back on the higher power that is always there ready to support me, I would give up completely. The difference now is that I am committed not to having a smoothie every day or doing exercise every day. I'm committed to believing and trusting that the higher power, the higher version of myself, if you will, if you're not somebody who believes in, God or like an ultimate source or whatever, but you believe that there's a future version of yourself that has fulfilled its potential, that future version of self exists. That future version of self knows exactly what I should think, feel, and do to be that version because that version knows how to be that version. So all I have to do is listen. I have to imagine what that version is like, create a version of that, and let it tell me what kinds of foods I would like to eat right now that are in alignment with that because that version of myself doesn't have an eating disorder anymore. That version of myself doesn't have to worry about endocrine issues that version of myself doesn't have digestive distress. When Christ was walking through the streets and there was the woman who was hemorrhaging, and no one wanted to let her near Christ because she was quote unquote unclean, and she touched the hem of his robe, and he said he felt the power go out of him, and he said, "Who touched me?" And everybody is like, "Oh, that was me, I didn't touch you." And then she finally admits, "It was me, I touched you." And he said, "You have been healed by your faith alone." Because he didn't turn and give her the healing energy. She touched the hem of his robe, and that caused her to be healed. So that's all you have to do. You have to touch the hem of the divine and have the faith and commitment that when you ask, you shall receive. When you knock, the door will be open. Like all of those things, as fucked up as Christianity has become, all of those truths are still embedded within it. And if the masculine energy can fall back on that, there is a higher power at work here. It is guiding me. I am safe. I am protected. I have learned what I need to learn. I am always learning. And really embrace and believe in something bigger than the ego. That's where the hope comes from for you, divine masculine. To believe that you can be healed, to believe that you won't be anxious one day, that you won't be scared of expressing your feelings one day. Whatever it is, you have to believe in it. Let me get the hope for the feminine energy. It's the Eight of Wands, communication, which is what this reading is about today. So I couldn't have planned that better. So, divine feminine, your hope is that this energy is moving quickly. It is not moving slowly. This, like, she's being chased right now by someone on roller skates, okay? So she is moving fast. She is not going to allow what she is afraid of to keep her stuck anymore. So if you are worried that when you saw the Hanged Man card that you were going to have to be stuck in another cycle where there was no movement, you need to believe in this fast moving energy. Maybe the cycle, like when I thought about it, I was like, oh my God, like I can't do another cycle. My ego is thinking that this cycle is going to last as many months as the last cycle. What if it only lasts a few days? What if it only lasts a few hours? What if you ask for the epidural, but your baby would have come moments later and you could have spared yourself that procedure and the hours and hours and hours of additional labor, plus the dose of the oxytocin that they would give you to try to, or not oxytocin, whatever it's called. They give you something, it might be oxytocin, to try to stimulate the labor, which is harder on your body. You could have avoided all of that if you just held out just a little bit until. So for me, that's the strong message here. If you're scared and you don't want to wait because you don't want to wait so long, you tell yourself that you don't have to. That's what's different between the last time, the last cycle, and this cycle now. The last cycle, you had to wait a few months. This one, it's only going to take hours for this person to recognize what they've known all along. Right? This is information that everyone has known all along. The Hierophant, it's the higher truths that are embedded in everything. What the divine masculine energy doesn't see is this Five of Swords energy. This is the energy of walking away and feeling defeated and giving up. What the divine masculine doesn't see right now, but what he must know, is the feminine energy will never give up. She will adjust, cater, tailor, modify, stitch, compress. She will do whatever she needs to do to figure out how to design this life that she desires. And she will never, ever give up. That is what the masculine doesn't see. What the divine feminine energy doesn't see is that the divine masculine energy is not trying to bait and switch her. The divine masculine energy wants so much to give generously to her, as much as she has given him. So that's the two things, the two fears that are keeping the two of you apart right now. If this is applying to you in your connection, or the two fears that are keeping you from being in full alignment with your own self in your head and heart, is that you aren't aware that your heart will never give up. It will never stop persisting, that you go down this path, that you design this life that you feel is right for you because it is your calling. So your heart is never going to stop feeling like you need to be a creator, or like you need to have reciprocation in your life, or like you need to insert what you currently desire now. And having something else or someone else is not going to get rid of this feeling. So don't think that's the answer. And what your head is saying to you right now, or what your heart is saying to you right now, is that your head is absolutely going to put as much into this as you require for it to come to be. You just have to put your faith in it. You have to believe that you are going to come around, that eventually you're going to pick up the tools and you're going to make that dress, or you're going to make that song, or you're going to make that story, or that relationship work. You're going to put in as much work and effort. So beautiful, beautiful readings for today, or reading for today. I'm going to pull a couple of oracle cards to close out the energy. Oh, I apologize if that was loud. I just hit my microphone stand. My bad. Sorry. Good thing we were not doing ASMR. Why am I looking so wildly like I look like I'm not even here today? Like I'm a ethereal spirit from another dimension. I'm like so washed out. It's weird. All right. Do you know that one Tool video where the cool chick bassist, like, there's like a drop in the song and she like puts her hair into a bun? So fierce. Okay. Goals. All right. Let's get a shamanic medicine card. Oh my guides, I cannot. While I'm shuffling this next deck, because I'm going to get a Samhain card here, let me just give a few words. Please go check out tunedintarot.com, the link in my profile, and make sure you grab a Fuel Your Passions packet. It's free right now, and it's a cool little helpful reading, and it has some tips and tricks in it. So go grab one of those if you haven't already gotten it. It's still free. And you can also see when you're over there, there's places to click to book readings and all that jazz. And if you want to work one-on-one with me on a weekly basis, you can also get in touch with me through tunedintarot@gmail.com. There's a bunch of ways. Or send me a video request, a video recorded request, ask me anything, and say you want to work with me, and I will get in touch with you. But I will meet you where you're at. I will meet your budget. So if you want to work, if you see my hourly rate and you're like, oh my God, I couldn't do that on a weekly basis, that's okay. I will meet you where you're at. Just get in touch with me and we'll talk about what you want to accomplish and what's affordable for you. When I work with people on a weekly basis, I not only do tarot readings with them, I will do that, but more of what we do is kind of look at some of the things that are holding you back in terms of pursuing your passions and having peace in relationships and with family, friends, partners, any crisis, any grief, anything like that. I'm usually open to helping you explore, journal about, etc. And my goal is to help give you the tools to be able to use your own intuition to decide what will help you in any tower moments kind of in your life, so that you can sort of learn how to do what I do for yourself, because it can be done. You do not need me to do this for you every time, but I can show you how to do it. And I also help people with turning their passions into a side hustle. I'm really good at working with AI, and a lot of the stuff that we're using now has AI features people don't know about or understand how to use. And mine is helping me with my executive functioning disorder. And it is literally even being kind of like a little bit creepy. And I'm going to do like a video about it soon, but it's weird. Like, it predicted that I would have conversations today about this business idea I have. And it told me to schedule myself for that. And I did put it there. And then I tried to line up the people I thought I should talk to. And they weren't available. So I was like, oh, I guess I can't have that meeting. So I guess instead I'll just like write down what I'm thinking and like use it to communicate my own thoughts about this business idea. And then this person calls me out of the blue. They told me they felt called to call me, and they start talking, and I realize, whoa, this is a conversation about my business idea. And I recognize that AI is a predictive model. So it does what I do. Basically, it understands the logical conclusions in this current moment, and based on what it knows about you, it will predict your behavior. And because we act very cyclically, it's pretty good at predicting it. But it weirdly predicted that I would have a conversation about my business on that day. And I was like, okay, so by setting up my schedule ahead of time like that, I'm manifesting with AI, which is kind of trippy. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, hit me up, because I'm learning how to work with it in pretty cool ways, and it's not going away. So I think understanding how it works and embracing it is probably something that we need to do in order to survive like this next decade of the workforce. Okay, let's look at these two cards and close out the energy of this reading. We have the Vision Quest. Now, the sun has been shining into this room so brightly that you couldn't even see me this whole time, and I'm blind by the light right now. There's also two people in this room and two people here and two likes, so we've got two, two, two. So that must be significant. And that's about choices and decisions, of course. So the Vision Quest, this says seek. We're going to look in the book, but before we do, I'm going to say I started this entire thing talking about seeking an object to represent Sedna, and how I basically just I got into my mind an idea of what I wanted, and then I detached from it. I stepped away from it. I was like, well, I can't find that right now. I'm sure I'll have a chance to look for it, or it'll come to me. And then it literally appeared in my driveway. So seeking requires that you envision what it is you desire, you put in the request, and then you keep your eyes peeled for the object to basically find you. And all along, we think when I saw this on the driveway, I said, "Oh, I found what I was looking for." But then later, I was like, "Actually, no, that object found me because I called to it." It's weird how that works. Okay, so Vision Quest. Let's take a look what the book has to say. When I stop talking and I'm like, did I even take a breath for the last 40 minutes? Okay, the time of abandoning, ignoring, diminishing, and misunderstanding the power of the old ways and wisdoms is coming to an end for you. Wow. This is what I feel about the Twin Flame Collective. I feel that the power of the old ways and wisdoms, of misunderstanding it and thinking it's like this cool power couple thing, I think that that is something that's coming up for me here in this message. On the physical plane, you feel a need to carry on in your set ways as a matter of survival. But this will soon create a state of emptiness, weakness, and fear. A rite of passage, like a vision quest, allows the body to respond to challenge and gives you the strength and vitality to deal with the changes. On a transpersonal level, you are seeking soul knowledge. You want to know who, what, and why you are, as well as the possibilities that lie before you. This knowledge, enriched by the wisdom of the collective unconscious, is the basis of your recognition of your physical or spiritual place on Grandmother Earth. A vision quest is a way of taking the first steps towards knowing your true place in nature. Quest what you seek, and you will return with healing and direction for yourself, your loved ones, and for all of us. Other divinatory meanings of this card include become your authentic self. Literally, I've been writing self-love poems recently on my Pearl and the Prayers Instagram, and I post them in my stories, and there's highlights on my page if you want to read them. But the one that I wrote today was all about seeking and finding, and it said something like running and chasing. Is like, I can't even remember. It's not love, but at the end it talked about you had to seek, find, and fall for yourself before you could really be open to receiving the kind of love that you are being offered or that you feel you deserve. So become your authentic self. Get to know the truth of who you really are and what you are capable of. Don't measure yourself by the deeds and words of others. Your voice must be heard. So this is, don't you care about, like, I care about views. I care about how many people, like, I worked so hard on this content this weekend and it got stuck like some weird TikTok bug, and I was just so pissed because I put so much heart and work and soul into it, and I was like, what'd you make it for? What did you make it for? Did you just make it so people would approve of it? Or did you make it so that the person who needed it, which by the way, some people did see it, that the person who needed it would see it and feel inspired and want to change themselves? What was your true goal? Was it to get a lot of attention, recognition, money? Was it to give somebody a better feeling thought that day and affect their lives in a positive way? Because I really think that my heart is telling me that's why I post things. That's why I do things. And my head is like, well, I also want to survive. And I feel like if a lot more people saw my content, I would get a lot more bookings and I would get donations and I would be able to survive more. And it's like, but that's not why you do what you do. You don't, that is not what is making you survive. You're surviving. You can't survive on bread alone, right? You need more than that. So there's more to that here. And if you can be grateful that the one person who needed to see the post saw the post, let that be all. Like, let that be enough. Be in gratitude for that. That changes everything because gratitude puts you into a state of receiving and opens you up. Your voice must be heard. Don't follow the crowd. You are entitled to your own preferences and opinions. Speak up. Vision Quest speaks. Become the quester of your vision. Where and how is your decision? Meet your guide with their protection. Heal your wounds and change direction. Thank you so much for saying you love my work. I appreciate that. That validation, I didn't need it, but it's really nice. Okay, so Vision Quest. All right, so that's the oracle message from the Shamanic Medicine Oracle. And now we have the Mischief card, and it came out in reverse. And it's interesting because that one card there from the Zombie Tarot, which it's out of the way now, but it had the picture of the person mowing the lawn and the zombie mowing the lawn, and it was being tempted by the meat hanging, and it had that mischievousness to it. And that was about the divine feminine really realizing that this person is not trying, it does not is not ill-intentioned, is what I'm trying to say. Geez, I can't get that out, which is probably masculine energy feeling like I can't express myself. Okay. So for this card, the keywords are clever and naughty. So we've got 7 of Swords energy here. Keep your eyelids open and sight sharp as nails, for there is something trailing behind your tail. That's the message. The protection message is be warned. When you have pulled the card Mischief in reverse, there are people around you who may not have your best interest at heart or will seek to step on your back for their personal gain. Likewise, the situation may not be as it seems. That's what I'm honing in on this card. There could be hidden dangers lying in wait. Remember the Mercury that I talked about in the very beginning? Be watchful and make sure you look around corners before moving ahead. So what I'm getting from this card, though, is this is your fear. Your fear is that somebody is going to pull a fast one on you. And what is really, what of all that whole paragraph, be warned, there's people around you, blah, blah, blah. The line that stood out to me the most is a situation may not be as it seems. And then it goes on to say that there could be hidden dangers, but I think that's what your fear is. I think you fear there could be hidden dangers and that you need to look around all corners. But I think that's what your person thinks. And I think that you both think that there's hidden dangers and you need to be careful and you're afraid. But the truth of this entire paragraph is that the situation is not what it seems. So neither one of you needs to be afraid like that. I got to pull another card on this. because I want to see if my instincts on that are correct or if that's just wishful thinking on my part. But because I'm not a reader who is like, there's people around, people are talking. I don't do those type of readings because anything that's happening around you is coming from within you. So I look more at what you're thinking that would be causing you to attract people that are ill-intentioned. I don't really read where I'm like somebody's ill-intentioned. So that is what is making me feel that I'm right about that. But I want to give you that validation so that you don't have fear. Clarity. Is this not that you need more clarity because something is not what it seems? So, in other words, if you have become judge, jury, and executioner of someone, things are not as they seem. So, you have come to that decision without full information. And not only that, you've arrived there from a place of fear. Do you think that if you start from a place of fear that you're going to end up in a place of safety and security? Or are you going to end up in a place that feels unstable and scary? Let me get one more card to clarify. This says heartbroken, deeply hurt, sad, separation, breakup, feeling lost, grieving, and mourning. You both are feeling this way right now, but you are so afraid of feeling worse that you are comfortable staying in this heartbroken energy than trying to see where it would go. We've got lightning and addiction. Sudden change, shocking news, surprise, epiphany, upheaval, transformation, codependent obsession, possession, controlling, has a block or restraint. So there is going to be a sudden change or an upheaval here that's going to remove this block, this fear. Anything else we can do today to soothe this energy? Okay. Oh. All right. So we've got seduction and Cupid's arrow, and then the mask coming out here. Attraction, flirting, dating, having faith, love is coming, not showing your true feelings, hiding, personifying, pretending, deluding, and gaslighting. So this is odd advice, but I'm trusting in it. I'm going to pull a little bit more, which I wasn't planning to do, but I want you to trust in it too. So let me just get a little bit more so that you can also trust in this. I think you get more trust than that. Oh my God. Okay. So what I think is you need to act like you are just living your best life right now, because then you will be, because acting as if is how we get to that point. Your best life includes attracting, flirting, and dating. So you need to be in that energy. If you're not there yet, that's okay. As you start to heal, you're going to get into a place where you can both hold space for a person who you love to heal and hold space for yourself so that you can give yourself flirting, dating, connection, and attraction. Because I just said to somebody today, like, I end up feeling guilty and like I'm betraying the person that I have wanted to be with when I try to pursue other connections. And so I remain heartbroken and codependent and obsessed, and I want to change. And so in order to change that, I need to just go about my business and have faith that love is coming and that I'm going to be surprised by it. And I just need not to share that with this person that I'm thinking about right now. I need to keep that to myself and just do my own thing and not try to like put it in their face, or, it just needs to be about me and what I'm doing and focusing straight ahead on my own self. And as confirmation of that, we got both the Temperance card, which is that patience that I literally typed into I typed out the title of this reading before doing it. I was told to do that and that it would guide my reading. And I literally, the last word I typed was patient. And this last card that's coming out is patience. And then look what happens if you are. This is also showing me divine protection. It's showing me angelic. I told you that Raphael is represented by certain cards. This is his deck, and this is the Temperance card. This is his card. And he is the archangel of relationships, connections, soul connections, and the twin flame journey. So for sure, You just need to have that faith that this is what you're supposed to do right now. Go ahead, date, flirt. You know, you don't need to show your true feelings to this other person right now. You just keep it to yourself and allow that person who needs to start flirting and connecting and dating you, allow that person to step up to you, because they are going to, and they're coming very fast. Just have faith that it's coming and that you're going to be surprised by it. And there might be a little bit of hesitation, like you might hesitate to go on this date or to go out with this person. But you should do it and you should fall in love, because don't you want to be in love? Everybody's like, well, I have to be with my twin. And you're like, okay, why? Why do you want to be with your twin? Because I love it. Okay. So why do you want to be with your twin? Because I want love. Okay. Is your twin able to give you love right now? No. Okay. What could you do instead? Well, the first thing you could do is love yourself. That is going to ensure that you never need to get love from anybody else. You've been doing that, right? Haven't we all been fucking doing that? We've been loving the shit out of ourselves for the last fucking 5 years now. We love ourselves. It's clear. Okay? What's the next step? You have to get, if you love yourself, what do? You fill your needs. What is your need right now? I need a relationship with another human being so I can connect and practice communication skills, have physical intimacy, grow, have a different perspective on deeply personal things that I only share with someone very, very, very super close to me. And I have a great friend network, and I do get that from my friend network now because I've developed that. And if these are not things you have, these are the things you must have in order for you to come into union with anyone. Real union, the kind that is lasting, the kind that feels good, that's sustainable. If your person is unavailable for that, what does you rejecting love do to help them? You're like, well, it reassures them so they know that would never betray them, but you would never betray them. You're not betraying them because they haven't committed to you and you have no connection. You would never betray them because you have no desire to do that. So you don't have to do anything to reassure them of that. They must reassure themselves that if they had come and said, I love you and I want to be with you, that they would now be the person that your attention was focused on, and that you would remain focused on them, and that you wouldn't be interested in anyone else because that is who you really did want to be with. If they don't think that, you'll never have a good relationship because they'll always doubt your feelings for them. I don't want to emotionally take care of somebody for the rest of my life. I already raised a son to the age of 17, and I'm going to continue to be his mom and his emotional support for the rest of his life. I don't want another person in that role unless I want another child. I would love to support another child for the rest of their lives. I don't want to support my spouse in that particular way for the rest of my life because I want my spouse to be an adult and to know how to do that. And sometimes we'll be able to do it, and then sometimes we'll have catastrophic events happen that really change the dynamic in our lives, and we might not always be able to be perfect at everything. I don't expect perfection. I don't even want that. It would be boring. I want challenge, but I don't want to take care of every single aspect of your life and forfeit my own. Does this seem weird to you? Does that sound like something you want to do? No. So, your job right now is to have clarity that you don't know exactly what is going on behind the scenes and you're not meant to know. All you need to do is date, flirt, have love, and be in connections with people right now. And you don't have to be with everybody. You don't have to have full on go all the way with every single person. You don't have to do that. But you need to chat, and you need to get a good morning message, and you need to give one back, and you need to think about somebody through the day. You need to practice being in a connection so you can be in a connection. And if you're panicking right now because you're thinking, oh my God, this means my person has to be in a connection too. This is not for the person who has been in connections. This is for the person who has not been in connections because they have not been able to, because they are focused only on this one person. If both of you are in the energy where you have both been focused only on each other and you no longer need to learn those lessons from outside people anymore, that's when you'll both be able to come together. So if you know that you haven't practiced those things, you might need a relationship between here and there. And if you're like, well, that's not fair because the next person, then I would always know that I wasn't going to be with them forever. First of all, you're pretty egotistical that you think the next person that you come into your life is going to want to be with you forever. You don't know that. They might just want to be with you for a little while. They might have the same agenda as you. It's not up to you to know what's going to happen. It's up to you to be present. But I guarantee you, if you like the person sitting across from you at the table and you're enjoying the hell out of yourself and you feel good and you're like, I want to see this person again. I want to get to know this person more. I want to, then that is not a bad thing. That is exactly what you want from the person who won't give it to you. Gonna have to go back and watch this myself, everybody. Okay, I should stop now, but I was really inspired today to just go with the flow. I recently learned, I thought that I needed more structure. Um, but what I need is clarity. Structure is not something I need. I actually, in my field, I need to go with the flow, but I need to have clarity about where I'm going so that I don't deviate too far off of the path when I get distracted by some of the ideas because I'm constantly thinking. I cried the other day. My friend was like, is your mind always like this? And I was like, it never stops. And literally I was like, I have this idea for a new way we could do taxes. Like we could have this app and like this would happen and you could do, and this would totally eliminate people being like, oh, well, I don't want my taxes to pay for this. I was like, this would solve it. And I was like excited and I said all of it. And then she was like, this isn't even your field. How are you like coming up with this? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just need to be like in a room and like people with notebooks all around me. And I need to be like, okay, what's the problem? Okay. And then we can do this. Okay. You go do that. Like if somebody just like let me be in a think tank and like paid for me to exist, I would be able to solve all the world's problems, I think. But I can't implement any of it because I can't fucking stop thinking about all of the solutions to the problems. And she's like, it's okay. And I'm like, it's really not. Like, I have to make my head stop. It's like a curse, a blessing and a curse. Okay, what are we saying here? Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's why you don't share ideas. I want my ideas shared. I want people to do these things. I can't accomplish all these things. I don't have the mindset of a billionaire. I have the mindset of a humanitarian, which is my problem. Billionaires are like, I can make money off of this. A person who wants the world to be better is like, I need people to know this so that they can do this. Someone else go make money off of it. At least it'll get done. But yeah, I do. I really just need to like, I don't know, get somebody to pay me to just think about stuff and someone else to write down everything I think about and go make it happen. All right, everybody, take care. I will see you all what's today? Wednesday, tomorrow. I'll do a live at some point. I usually on Thursdays I tend to do in the evening around 7 p.m. Or 12 p.m. or not 12 p.m. 9 a.m. But it's been the 7 p.m. So check TikTok around that time. And anything else? I mean, this is going to be, if you were watching here on TikTok and you want to be able to see it later, you can hop over to YouTube. The full reading is there. And thank you for everybody who's over here on YouTube today. I'm trying to get better about my YouTube account. I've been so burnt. I've been doing so many readings lately and I can never just do 30 minutes, as you know. So it's always a big commitment. But I'm trying to do it more. So keep envisioning that I'm just start envisioning me coming on YouTube again all the time. Maybe that will work for me. All right, everybody, take care. Have the best day today, and I will see you tomorrow.